everyone, in this video I'm going to show how I did this Schnauzer drawing in graphite. Now in this video I'm going to have lots of tips for drawing realistic overlapping fur, and to start with I always focus on my base layer and getting that as accurate as I can. Now this for me is a really crucial stage of any drawing, regardless of the medium or the subject that I'm working on. And as I progress through this drawing, you'll really notice how the base layer plays such an important role for the softness. But once I've got my graphite powder mapped in here, I'm starting to then work with my graphite pencils and reinforce my values. Now the one thing with graphite powder is it's never going to be as dark as the pencils can achieve. So this is simply just to map that in and then reinforce this with my pencils as I build my layers. Now I'm always focusing on three main aspects when I'm working with my pencils. That is the fur direction, the fur thickness and the fur length. Now the fur direction is not random, it follows the underlying bone and muscular structure. So the way that I'm moving my pencil here, I really want to follow the reference photo and try to capture as many of the directional changes as I can. Now when working with overlapping fur, it can be quite difficult to isolate what layer to draw at each stage. And this can actually complicate the layering process. If we start to draw in fur that's more on the top layers, then we can actually skip out on the mid-tones and the softer fur closer to the skin. So the real-time version of this tutorial really focuses on what layer we should be drawing at each stage, and this really does simplify the layering process. Not only that, but it does enhance the depth and that level of realism massively. If the real-time version of this tutorial is of interest, I'll link all of the information to that in the description below. As I start to progress through now for more of my additional layers, this is where I'm starting to reinforce more of my darker values. However, you'll notice that I'm not jumping into my darkest pencil right from the beginning. I do like to build up my layers more gradually so that I can enhance that softness as well. Now working with softness, this is something that I feel is really important with majority of fur textures. Even something that's more wiry and coarse, I do like to focus on a soft layer first of all. Then I can really reinforce and tidy up the texture that's more accurate to that dog or the animal that I'm drawing. And this is why when working with realism with this kind of layering technique, it's important to keep reminding ourselves that sometimes these early stages don't necessarily look as much like that reference photo, and that's okay, that's correct for this technique. The way that we're building up our layers here and then enhancing that overlapping fur, it has to be done in stages. As I've said at the beginning of this video, if I try to overlap now the fur that I might notice initially in that reference photo, and I do add that too early on, then the fur's going to look less realistic and therefore I'm going to run into problems there. So I would much rather work with this stage of the drawing, getting this just right, knowing that it's okay that it's not resembling that dog yet, and then I can get this established before I move on to my highlights. Now the highlights that I'm adding here with my Tombow mono eraser, you can see how drastic it changes that fur texture. I'm immediately now getting more of that overlapping look. However, the layering process up to this point has been really important. One of the most common questions I'm asked is, why don't the erasers work? Why aren't they lifting off the graphite? And I've found that if the graphite is applied incorrectly, that the erasers have a much harder job to pull in the highlights. So I like to work with this gradual layering process for many reasons, like I've already stated. But one of those in particular being that the erasers are going to be far more effective if I'm not working with too much additional pressure throughout those pencils and if I haven't jumped to that darkest pencil too soon. Earlier on in this video I mentioned about three things that I focus on when working with pencils. That's the fur direction, fur length and fur thickness. Now the pressure applied to a pencil is going to drastically change what the pencil strokes look like. An aspect in particular is the thickness of the pencil strokes. Now this is also determined by the point that we have on the pencil, how we're holding the pencil. But the way that we are using this in terms of the pressure applied is also going to determine how thin or thick those details are. If I'm using too much pressure, I am going to get a thicker, more clumpy line, and that necessarily isn't the look that I would want for specific fur textures. Now in some cases such as this, I don't actually want to be drawing super fine details because the fur has more of a tendency to clump together. So you'll see for the most part here that when I am working with my pencils, my lines are naturally thicker than compared to other textures such as a Labrador or a Springer Spaniel, where that fur isn't quite so thick. But that is also relevant when I'm working with my erasers, adding in my highlights. I have to make sure that that's also matching the correct texture that I can see in my reference photo. And in this situation, they are still a little bit thicker, helping to make it look like a few of those strands of fur are grouped together. So when drawing the fur around the nose and the muzzle area here, because it's significantly longer, I think this can make it more confusing. Now, one of my biggest tips when working with fur like this is not to start with the pencil at the beginning by the nose and then draw one consistent line all the way to the end of that fur stroke, because then the fur is going to potentially look more like spaghetti. You'll see that when I'm working with this pencil, I'm breaking each section of fur up into maybe 3 or 4 segments. I don't ever do one long line. When I'm then building in more of my layers and I start to reinforce my highlights, I have to make sure that the layers underneath are dark enough. This is a key aspect with any breed, any animal that we're drawing. If we start to work with the highlights and they're not visible, the first question I ask myself is that because there's not enough graphite for the eraser to remove? If I've got too much of a lighter base foundation, then the erasers, the highlights are not going to have as much of that impact. Now, when working with a lighter fur texture like this, I don't want to be making the base layer too dark. That's something that can also add additional stress. But I certainly need to make sure that there is enough of a mid-tone there, and then I can always darken up areas in between if I need to. So as I then progressed to the chest part of this portrait, one of the things here you'll notice is that I haven't finished off the details on the very edge, the lower part of the chin and the side of the face. The reason being here is those sections of fur, they did overlap the very bottom of the neck. The fur there, given that it is much longer, it's going to have more of that freedom to move. So I could then add in those details too soon and have to draw around them. That's going to significantly extend that drawing process and again make it more confusing and overwhelming. So in those situations, I completely ignore that. I'm going to work on the area that's underneath those details first, and then I can come back in with the pencils and the erasers to overlap those details on top. I do find that this helps to enhance that level of realism because we are capturing more of the accurate layer at each stage. If I was to draw the details on the lower part of the chin first and then draw around them when I work on the chest, I just find that those details are going to have more of a rigid edge to them and therefore they look less natural. So this is always my go-to approach at all possible, and even if it means then that the layers of graphite are really dark underneath, as long as I'm building up the layers correctly, I'll still be able to pull the highlights over the top. I do have a pug tutorial here on YouTube and the fur there is really, really dark. And I also show how to add in the highlights over the top of such dark layers. So if that video is of interest, I'll link that in the description below. One of my biggest tips at this stage is when we're on the very last section of a portrait, especially when we've already put in many hours to get to that point, it can be easy to start rushing. Now that would be a real shame given how much depth and realism has been achieved so far. So at this stage, if you do start to feel that you're getting tired, your eyes are a little bit strained, then it's always worth putting that drawing away, even just for half an hour, so that you can rest your eyes. Now if you do start to feel overwhelmed and you're particularly stressed, even just putting it away overnight and coming back to it the following day, it's usually then going to mean we're far more effective and we're not going to start to rush through the layers and make potential mistakes. And I think this is one area of this portrait in particular where mistakes could be made. The way that the fur is more tightly compacted and messier looking, I guess, a little bit more scruffy, that the layers could then get jumbled up. It would be tempting to then think, do I add my highlights now? Oh no, that's not right, let's work back with the pencils. And before we know it, the layers have got entirely mixed up. Now when I start to feel like that, because it is normal, it's entirely normal to feel a bit overwhelmed with something like this, that's where I'll go back to the basics of a soft blended base layer, then I'll refine a little bit of the texture with some lighter pencils, then come back in with my highlights, add in a few more of those indications of the lighter clumps of fur, and then I can tidy up my shadows where needed. But making sure I then split that up into each individual layer just means I'm going to try to be a bit more focused in that section that I'm working on, rather than letting the anxiety and that overwhelming feeling take over that drawing process. These darker details are a great example of that. There is a potential here that these could be added first and then the lighter fur behind it added on top. But that would then mean that the highlights are sitting above the darker fur, when in actual fact in this situation they were underneath. So making sure that I'm visualising the right layer at the right time can just massively help with that drawing process when aiming for this level of realism. So I do hope this video has been useful. If it was, I'd be very grateful if you could give it a like and a thumbs up. It makes a huge difference to my channel. I do also upload a couple of videos to YouTube every week, so if you would like to get notified of that content, then don't forget to hit the subscribe and the bell button. If you would like to draw along to the real-time version of this tutorial, then I'll link all of the information to that in the description below. If you have got any art-related questions, feel free to pop them in the comments. I'm always happy to help if I can. And I'm going to be uploading another video at the end of the week. But as always, thank you so much for watching.